Video opens with a title card. What is the dark truth of Victorian horror? E. Dramatic, monochrome image of a foggy London street at night. Quick cuts to an unsettling, abandoned Victorian-era parlor. Beneath the lace, the steam, and the stiff upper lip of the Victorian era lies a darkness that has haunted our nightmares for generations. We think we know the stories, the vampires, the monsters, the ghosts in the attic. But what if I told you the true horror wasn't in the fiction, but in the reality that inspired it? What dark truths fueled the terrifying tales of Dracula, Frankenstein, and Jekyll and Hyde? Let's uncover the secrets hidden in the fog. Illustrations of cramped, unsanitary city life like Whitechapel. Transition to covers of classic Gothic novels like Dracula and Frankenstein. The Victorian age was a time of unprecedented progress, but it was also an era of profound anxiety. Industrial cities like London swelled, creating a maze of overcrowded, disease-ridden slums where life was cheap. This suffocating reality, the grime, the poverty, the constant presence of death, became the fertile ground for a new kind of terror. Gothic literature wasn't just entertainment. It was a mirror reflecting the deep-seated fears of a society grappling with rapid, unsettling change. Images of memento mori photography, showing post-mortem portraits. Then, visuals of a seance with people holding hands around a table. Death was an intimate part of Victorian life. High infant mortality rates and rampant diseases like tuberculosis and cholera meant that loss was a constant companion. This obsession manifested in macabre ways, from memento mori photography, portraits taken of the recently deceased, to a widespread belief in spiritualism and seances, a desperate attempt to contact the other side. This cultural fixation on death and the afterlife bled directly into their horror, blurring the line between the living and the dead. Visuals contrast wealthy Victorians in lavish clothes with drawings of the pale, gaunt, sickly poor archetype. Architectural shots of imposing, shadowy buildings. Furthermore, society was rigidly stratified. The stark contrast between the opulent rich and the sickly poor created a powerful sense of social dread. This fear of the other, the impoverished, the foreign, the degenerate, was a cornerstone of Victorian horror. The very architecture of the time, with its oppressive Gothic revivalist style, seemed to trap people in a world of shadows and secrets, where every dimly lit corridor could hide a monstrous truth about human nature and societal decay. An illustration depicting Dr. Frankenstein creating his creature on a stormy night. This era of scientific revolution also brought a terrifying new question. What happens when humanity plays God? Mary Shelley's Frankenstein perfectly captured this anxiety. It's not just a story about a monster. It's a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition and the terrifying, unforeseen consequences of scientific discovery. The creature represents a fear of our own creations turning against us, a theme that resonates even more strongly in our modern technological age. A close-up on the mysterious lady archetype, looking disturbed and isolated in a dimly lit library. Beneath the strict moral codes of the era, a different kind of monster was brewing: psychological collapse. The intense pressure to maintain social propriety, especially for women, often led to repressed desires and anxieties that festered into madness. Stories were filled with characters trapped in sprawling, labyrinthine mansions that mirrored their own fractured minds, haunted not by ghosts, but by their own psychological demons, proving that the most terrifying prison is often the one we build for ourselves. A dramatic scene illustrating a theme from Edgar Allan Poe, like a single unnerving eye staring from the darkness, or a room where a shadow seems to have a life of its own. And what about the horror that lurks within? No one explored this better than Edgar Allan Poe. His tales weren't about external monsters, but about the darkness inherent in the human soul. He delved into paranoia, guilt, and obsession, showing how an ordinary mind could unravel into a terrifying abyss. Poe's work demonstrated that the greatest horrors are not supernatural, but are born from the darkest corners of our own psychology. iconic imagery of Count Dracula with piercing eyes and the monstrous yet tragic figure of Frankenstein's creation. Two figures stand as titans of this era, Count Dracula and Frankenstein's creature. Dracula embodied the fear of the foreign, the corruption of the aristocracy, and a dangerous, predatory sexuality that threatened Victorian purity. Frankenstein's monster, in contrast, was a tragic figure, a symbol of scientific hubris and social rejection. He wasn't born evil, but was made monstrous by a cruel and fearful society. Transition to visuals showing their influence on modern media, classic horror movie posters, comic book art, and clips from modern film adaptations. Their influence is undeniable. From the silver screen to the pages of modern novels, these Victorian nightmares have been endlessly reimagined, proving the timelessness of the fears they represent. They are the blueprint for modern horror, their shadows stretching from the 19th century to haunt our pop culture today, a testament to the powerful anxieties that first gave them life.